Now, for the latest on the crisis in Ukraine, at least one person is dead and several injured after clashes in the eastern city of Donetsk. Rival Russian and Ukrainian demonstrators faced off Thursday, and what began peacefully ended in a bloody confrontation. CCTV's Jack Barton was there. He joins us now live from Donetsk with the latest. Jack?
What we're hearing from local media is the death toll may now be 2 people killed, dozens were injured, and from what we saw at that site, it appears that it is most likely that the people that were killed as the police actually tried to shepherd the pro-unity people away from the site of the initial clash. At that point, we witnessed they were overwhelmed by dozens of people, some carrying sharpened sticks, others carrying sharpened steel bars. This is all feeding into the situation in Crimea. There is a feeling amongst many people here that if Crimeans do vote on the weekend to join with Russia, Russia will have no choice but to annex a part of the east of Ukraine. Because water needs to be supplied to Crimea, and there is no land option for Russia to do that at the moment, so it would leave Crimea cut off. And some people, so that is feeding into this idea that this area could be occupied. Some people here think that's a great thing, other people here think it's a catastrophe, and it is this division that led to this standoff this evening, which led to what is without doubt the worst violence that this regional capital, Donetsk, has so far witnessed.
At the start, it was tense but peaceful as a few hundred supporters of Ukrainian unity faced off against a much larger pro-Moscow rally being held at bay by riot police. Those who want eastern Ukraine to become part of Russia began throwing eggs, firecrackers, rocks and smoke bombs. Despite the pyrotechnics and the eggs, the fundamental message of these pro-unity supporters is that they are not going to be intimidated. The flag waving and jeering continued on both sides. Pro-Russia supporters fanned out, surrounding those carrying Ukrainian flags, picking off people on the fringe. After a savage kicking, this man was rescued by police. Then they attacked en masse. Riot police used pepper spray to hold off the offensive as best they could, as they loaded supporters of a united Ukraine onto buses. Those buses were then pelted with anything the crowd could lay their hands on. When the people on board tried to escape out the rear windows, they were overwhelmed and beaten. The clash has only ended a few minutes ago. The police have begun collecting some of the weapons used in the fighting. You can see here wooden bats, one here covered in blood, and iron bars and pepper spray. This man displays the canister of one of the explosives allegedly used.
It's a war. It's a civil war.
Not all supporters of Russia approved of the violence as they continued their call for a referendum.
It's better to solve this peacefully, to have a referendum, so we can just sign some papers and we will see what the majority of people wants.
As Russian troops drill with anti-tank weapons near the border, the expectation here is of more violent clashes over the weekend that could be timed to coincide with the referendum in Crimea.
And these clashes came shortly after the interim government here tried to push through new legislation which would lead to the formation of a national guard of up to 60,000 volunteers. They say that will probably need to be amended later in the parliament. It's not perfect legislation, but they're trying to mobilize as many people as possible as the focus here really shifts to what is an expectation that this could lead to some sort of border conflict with Russia.